as well, but the budget's on there, different
Special fund
special
requests
fund
is what we
requests are
call
on
them.
the budget. But then, who's running is on the
And that's,
ballot as well, and that's what we're going to tell you right now. We don't know everyone. As of right now, we know you,
yep,
Ward 2.
Ward 2.
And as of right now, it feels like you don't have an opponent, which I can't imagine that that's going to happen. But
I don't think it's going to. I think someone will drop in before the deadline's what?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock tonight.
So they got 2 hours to run around and get 30 signatures and
right, and get your name in there. And because the clock's ticking. But Sam Stockwell will be running in Ward 3. And her opponent will be Dawn Ruthier.
Dawn Ruthier. Yep.
And in Ward 1, we have Beth Hillgartner, and her opponent will be Eddie Roos.
Good for Eddie to step up and run again.
I'm happy to hear that. He did a great job, and I have all the faith in the world that he will do a great job. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to maybe doing some good interviews and having everybody in. And I hope that everybody that's running will come in and sit down and do an interview. I think it's important, and we learned that with the school board candidates. Everyone came in and did an interview, and the majority of the people that we saw that at the polls actually stopped to make sure that they told us that they made their decisions because of the interviews that we did. So I'm hoping that happens. I'm assuming that you're going to do one.
Oh, of course I'll do one.
And, I can't do the interview, but Michael can. Because now that we're co-hosts, that would be kind of like a conflict thing.
Yeah,
but
we can have Michael come in.
Michael, or we'll get somebody in here, wrangle somebody down here to fire it up and ask you all kinds of
Lambert.
questions.
Not Lambert, no.
Okay, we'll try. We'll try to pick nicely, wisely, all that good stuff. Yeah.
No, but that went well when you did the school board interviews. Went very well.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of people came up to us and said that it made a big difference, and it helped them choose because they were undecided prior to, even about the budget. Like prior to that, they just weren't.
Well,
sure.
and it's also good because people see a name, and that way they can put a face to the name and find out more about who that person is.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say that I have no idea who Beth is.
Nor do I.
So I've never heard the name before, and so it will be interesting to get to know her.
Yeah.
And see where we're at with that. So, yeah, there's really not a lot of time left either. It's like a little over a month.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know exactly when the absentee ballots come out. I always forget that. I know it's a certain number of weeks before, but I always forget exactly when that is.
So today is the sixth Monday before Election Day. So we got 6 weeks.
Yep. And so I'm assuming that those will be out fairly soon. And for some reason, we didn't have sound at first. I wonder why that is. Must be a little Facebook blurb or internet blurb. I know my phone was spinning, so maybe it was just a little, Judy says that Dawn Ruthier can put a sign on her lawn.
Oh.
Must be, that's her ward.
She's in Ward 3.
Yeah, she's in Ward 3. I didn't know if she was just picking on you or not.
As soon as my signs get printed, they're at the printers. I'll be looking for places in Ward 2 to put signs on lawns.
And I will tell all candidates, so all candidates, it's you really should ask first.
Yes.
I mean, and then all candidates should pick them up at least, if not the very next day, within a couple of
Yeah.
days because it's infuriating when you drive around and you see all those signs everywhere. Yeah. Oh, and she says, and Jeff too, and Eddie.
Oh, good.
So she's going to let you all put your signs on her
Wow.
lawn. Yeah.
Thanks, Judy.
Yeah. Oh, and you can put one at Barb's, Barb Druge. She's
Okay.
on Merchant. I'll
All right.
tell you where that is. So, we'll get them all out
All right.
there.
That's great.
Yeah. But that was the biggest gripe last year after the election. If you, or the last couple of years, it's really been a big
People
thing.
leaving
but
signs
People
out,
leaving
yeah.
signs and people getting really upset about that. Pick up your signs.
Usually it's someone that didn't win and they just,
Right, to
that
heck
was the
with it.
biggest thing up at the auditorium because you'd be coming up in that little island where the flagpole is.
Uh-huh.
They'd fill that, they'd fill the bank on the side, and then,
If they
we'd,
didn't
we'd
win.
leave them. We'd leave them for a day after the election. Then by day 2 or day 3, my guys would just pick them up and take them away.
Right. Yeah. Well, and they are recyclable.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have them redone. Like if you want to run again next year, just use them again, or
Right.
even give them to your buddy that might run if you've talked them into it, and they can they can do stuff right over
Yeah.
it. Val works miracles down at Yipes. Save yourself some money.
As a good plug for Yipes.
Yeah, well, and she also has signs on sale right now. Buy 5, get 5 free. So if you're going to be out there putting up yard signs for any purpose, now's the time to get them. Right down there. Give them a call. You have a busy weekend?
I did.
Anything fun?
Yeah, following my grandson's AAU team around, basketball. So we were up in the Lamoille area this weekend. We had 2 games Saturday. It's a crazy schedule the way they do it. The first game was like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then they didn't play again until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then Sunday it was 10 o'clock or 10:30, and then the second one was 4 o'clock. Yeah, but it's fun, go up and watch. This was 11, 12-year-olds, 12 and under is what they call it. There was a lot of Barre teams up there because it's the Barre Blast, which is the organization that my son Jordan is involved with. And they had girls teams, boys teams. They had 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, and 7 and 8. So they had I think at least 6 teams, if not more.
Oh, wow.
In the tournament. And then we'll be doing it, I think, coming this weekend too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hillary Scott says, but they did a fantastic job, and they're an amazing group of kids.
They are great kids. My son's team is just the nicest bunch of kids. They're basically the same kids he's had in mini metro basketball and he'll have in baseball. They're a good group of kids.
And they're the ones that are doing the fundraising, right, to go to
Cooperstown.
Yeah.
They had the coin drop this past weekend, Saturday. And from what I've heard so far, they had somewhere between $1,100 and $1,200 in bills, and they hadn't counted the change yet.
Which is awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, that is great.
That's great.
And they have worked incredibly hard. They haven't just done all fundraisers. They've done stacking wood and shoveling, and they have really done
raking leaves off people's lawns.
Yeah, whatever
Oh,
it's going to take to earn this money. They haven't just said. They haven't just held their hand out by any means. They've really worked hard for it, and they've really shown
And their
that
goal was to raise, I think, $20,000.
Yeah.
And I think they went over that. So.
which is amazing.
Which is good
Absolutely
because
amazing.
they're probably, what they're going to do with anything over what they thought they needed, they're going to assist, I think, some of the families with making the trip out.
Which is awesome. I mean, it's a great thing. And did they end up getting one big bus and
I'm not sure yet. I don't
still
think.
working all of that out?
I think they're going to end up going in their own vehicles. But
Yep.
hey,
Still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And still an opportunity that they'll remember for forever.
it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
And especially because they work so hard for it.
Yeah.
This is something that they really, really wanted,
Yeah.
and which is awesome. We don't always see that anymore.
Maybe we can invite my son Jordan in
That would
for
be awesome.
one of our table talks, and he can.
That would be
he
awesome. He can tell us
He
all
can
about
explain
it,
it a
right?
lot better than I can.
Yeah, he can tell us all about it.
Yeah.
So are they, do they advance the same way as like in these games, like
No,
high school does? Or?
it's just like a round robin. You're going to play so many teams, so
Mm-hmm.
many games, and it's just because they have this wonderful setup, behind the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and that's where the kids will play.
Which is amazing. So cool. Super cool. Well, I had not a busy weekend. I worked down here a little bit. I had some stuff down here that absolutely had to be done, some cleaning and moving things around and whatever. But Friday was my most favorite day, and I already told you why. So Friday I went to Tasty Bites and got fried dough.
Fried dough.
And this is going to be the death of me because that is like my favorite thing. I would eat fried dough for over any other like treat, I think. It's just my absolute favorite thing. And I said, I'm going to chuck the scale right out the door right now because I know I'm going to be in there at least once a week.
Yeah.
Thank goodness she's closed Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I have at least, a couple of days where I'm not going to be doing that. But it was fresh, hot. She like made it, slathered it with butter and put the cinnamon sugar on it for me. But you can get powdered sugar, maple syrup. You can put a bunch of different things on it if you want. But you can get it topped with ice cream.
Oh boy.
And she has partnered with Legendary in Williamstown,
Yeah.
who, of course, they make their own ice cream, and they've been in here. It's Michael's nephew. So they are also related to Lisa, who owns Tasty Bites.
Who
And
isn't Michael related to?
I know, huh? He's. They do have a huge family.
Yeah, it sounds like
he's
it.
even related to Rosemary. They're cousins.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I know. It's like crazy. There's all kinds of them. But you can get ice cream on your fried dough too.
Well, it's like,
Is there anything better?
no.
I
It's
sure
like
don't think
we were
so.
talking earlier about it, and like how my mom sometimes on Sunday nights we'd have our big dinner at early in the day, and then at night she'd make up some fried dough, and we'd have that with some maple syrup on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Here you go, easy supper. But
That's-
I mean,
So she has it all the time? Or,
yeah, all the time.
boy.
And I think she's only going to do it in the summer months, but who knows if she sells a lot of it and it's
Yeah.
a big deal, she may, keep it around longer. Michael says because I'm a berry boy. What does being a berry boy have to do with anything?
That he's related to everybody?
Yeah, I was going to say something really bad, but I'm not going to. There are jokes about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In other places, but I'm not going to talk about that kind of stuff.
We'll stay away from that.
Yeah, I'll behave myself today. But super. I mean, get over there and check it out. We're lucky, anyways. I think we have so many good places to eat.
There
and,
are,
We're kind of spoiled.
Yeah. I mean, I went to some places this weekend that, the food was good, but man, you get up that area. So we went over to the Jericho Cafe and Tavern, and, it was brunch time, and geez, you're paying like $18, $19 for basically
Wow.
eggs, bacon, and home fries,
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot, for sure. I don't know. I haven't been out to breakfast in a really long time, but I also heard that Tasty Bites is going to be open on Easter.
Oh,
Yeah. So
Jeez.
we may check it out. We were a family that always went to the steakhouse for their big Easter brunch.
yeah.
And of course, they're no longer, which is horribly sad. And but we were always a family that went there for Easter brunch.
Yeah, we used to do the family things, and then as our families got bigger and separated out, for a few years we went to Susanna's
Yes, and that's where
At
we
the-
originally started
at the
going.
hill up on the
Yep,
Lague Inn.
yep. That's where
They had
we
a
were
great,
originally going.
they had a great Easter buffet.
Yes, they did. And then when they stopped doing it, that's when we started going to the steakhouse. And I
Yeah.
believe the Hilltop maybe even did it 1 or 2 years. But for the most part, we just always went up on the hill. To
Yeah, and if you
Suzanne's.
wanted to take a ride, you could go over to Morrisville and go to the Charlemont.
Yes, there's a blast from the past because
Yeah.
we used to go there when we were younger a lot because, like I said, most of my family is up that way. So that's a place that we always went.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the Wayside. It's always going to be there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's decent.
Well, we always said that about the Hilltop too. The Hilltop will always be there.
Yeah, yes, for sure. And I miss that place.
I do
a lot.
too.
That place I miss a lot. The Hilltop, Warner's Gallery. Did
Oh,
you
yeah.
ever go over to Warner's?
Yeah.
I miss that place and I miss the steakhouse. But definitely the Warner's and the Hilltop were two of my grandfather used to take us all over to Warner's.
Yeah.
You know, once in a while we'd all go over, the entire family, for dinner, and I just loved that place.
Did you have to take a bus?
No, we'd all take our own cars, but we could have taken a bus. We're not as bad as Michael and his family. Yeah. He says it's because his family's been here for 100 years, for over 100 years. But yeah, okay. We'll go with that, Michael. But we're really lucky, I think, that we have all of these places that we can go to. The Meltdown, the Quarry, Cornerstone, Ladder One, even Gusto's.
I know. If you look back now over the last probably 10 years, how it's grown, how many new restaurants have come in. It's great.
Yeah, when and a lot of times I read there's no place to eat, or there's no good places to eat around here anymore. Then you're not looking.
You're not looking.
No, because I think there really is. We're blessed with that. But anything else that you did fun this weekend?
No, that was like the big highlights.
Yeah. Are you getting ready to do spring cleaning or any of that kind of prep? You don't
Well,
really have to deal with that.
I don't really have to deal with that, but I will be, I'll open my camp up. I usually try to open it up early May, mid-May, so I'm ready there for Memorial Day weekend. And I went up a couple of weeks ago, and the snow had melted quite a bit. But now it's part of it's dirt road to get in, so it's got to go through the mud season thing.
Right, all muddy up, and you don't want to tear it up because then you make yourself some
Yep.
more work that you're going to have to do that. There is an update in case everyone hasn't seen. This morning they had posted about a missing elderly lady from Plainfield or Marshfield that was missing. They couldn't find her. They knew that she had driven to CBMC, and that's where she was last seen. And then
She
was
left
seen-
there. She left there and was going back to Plainfield or something. Is what
Yeah,
the
like
article
back
I
and
saw.
forth, and people saw her in Montpelier, and she asked for directions to
Yeah.
different places. But she has been located, and she is safe.
That's
and,
good.
A lot of questions about why is she driving and stuff, but that's not for any of us to
No.
talk about or decide. And some of those comments get pretty brutal sometimes. I'm amazed by that, and I think of my own self and think where I'm at with my dad. And we had this discussion not long ago.
Right.
That's not an easy thing.
It's not.
To tell your parent or anybody that they're not going to drive anymore, as much as you feel that way and as much as you want that, it's super hard to say, sorry, you're not going to drive anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had to do that. Had to do that with their dad.
Yeah. And it's a very grumpy conversation.
It is.
For sure. Yeah. That all of a sudden telling your parents what to do is super tough. Yeah.
Couldn't tell my mom what to do, but my dad, we had to. He had Alzheimer's, and then one time he thought somebody stole his truck when it was parked right where it always was. Another time he drove out of the Legion and he usually go out the back way and get on Granite Street to go home. And instead of turning left to go to Granite Street, he turned right and went down the railroad tracks and got stuck.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that was kind of it.
Yeah.
But I'm super grateful that they found her, because that could have been, a bad situation, and especially because she had dementia. And when I first heard that she went missing in Marshfield, my mind goes directly to like the railroad beds, or the old through or class 4 or class 3 roads, or even the snow machine trails right now that look like roads in some places, and getting out there somewhere, and that was my first thought, and how scary that must be.
Yeah.
And so I was happy to know that she was at least right in town and being seen, and didn't get off track, that's for sure.
Sad thing over the weekend was the fire in Barre town.
Oh, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. Yeah, heartbreaking. They lost quite a few pigs from
Well, that's
what
what
I've
I heard
understood.
today. That,
Yeah, from what I've understood, that is, and some other animals as well. But a young family starting, just doing this farm. This is what they do. This is their livelihood, and it makes me think of my own kid. My son's a farmer, and it's not just a farm to him. That's his entire life.
It's his life. Yeah.
Yeah. And so having that go away, I can't even imagine. A lot of departments.
Yeah. Oh my God. I read the list of fire departments that helped, and that's what's great about this area.
Yeah.
It's mutual aid, but it's more than mutual aid. They're like one big family.
It really is.
Yeah.
And another way that we're super fortunate. We don't always talk about it. We don't always acknowledge it, but it's true. We're super fortunate to have that. Whenever there's been any sort of big fire or disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, super lucky. And I hope that, they can get some help, and that the community rallies against for them. And yesterday I got a little bit testy.
A little? I read your post.
Yeah, it just is upsetting
It
to
is.
me. It's upsetting to me, and that people don't realize when you run to a scene like that, and and when you have it's frustrating to know that there are actual firemen, volunteers, posting on the chat saying, please stop it, you're impeding us getting to there. I guess they were trying to load tankers up by the Bond Field.
Yeah.
And when you start seeing firemen and stuff weighing in saying, people need to get out of our way. And then just all of the pictures and the posts, and the rules are pretty clear. Don't post an address, and don't post a picture. And you can talk about it, sure. You can say, avoid this area or that area, or certainly ask what's going on, but and give your thoughts to what's happening, the safety of the people and the emergency personnel. And that wasn't happening. And as a moderator who's sitting there trying to keep up with it, I deleted well over 40 pictures and 14 posts that had the address in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what is the point of the address? So more people can show up and sit beside the road and possibly, make it harder. And when that happens now, and maybe I'm more sensitive to it now than I ever was, because when Brock and Val's house burned,
Right.
The fire department, literally the people that were responding to help, couldn't get up the driveway because there were so many bystanders. There was already plenty up there, but there were trucks still trying to come in that could not get through. And that's, my mind always goes back to that and how horrible that was.
Yeah.
That fire was just devastating, and as was this one.
And the people weren't home at the time.
Right, exactly. Yeah, just like Brock and Val, they're not home. And, a family member is who reached out and said, hey, we found out that this is happening to our family member because it was posted on this page. We haven't heard from them yet. We can't reach them. We don't know if they're okay. We don't know, and that's how they learned of it. They didn't learn of it from the actual homeowners. And I don't like that crap either. That's super sad. To do that to somebody, it's heart-wrenching. To leave them in fear like that. Just not necessary. And some days I hate monitoring those pages. I really do. Some days it's like a full-time job. And thankfully, yesterday I had the time to just set the notifications on and do just that, because I was trying to get rid of it as quickly as it went on there. But it's not always that easy. And then you get the people that are pissed that you don't. Or you get the people that are pissed that you're censoring, or you're making the decision to remove something. And, well, it's the rules. And you agreed to the rules when you joined the page. So either you follow them or you just go to a different page, I
thought I saw something there. Somebody said, "Who are you to?"
Yeah, they did not. They don't like it if I delete stuff or say something. And that's not okay. They call it censorship. It's not censorship. It's the rules.
It's the rules.
Yeah,
right.
And for me, it's not just the rules. It's common sense too, and just empathy and being compassionate for what's happening, and having an understanding that the emergency crew's safety could be at risk.
Exactly.
In many situations, not just a fire, but even a police call, a standoff, or anything. It's just not something that you should be talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you stop and think about it, I mean, the traffic and the tankers trying to get water from, Morrison Road over to Usley Road. I mean, yeah, physically it's not a long distance, but when you've got cars and trucks and things in your way, and it's, time is of the essence when you're trying to get the water to the fire.
Yeah, and if you have cars parked on the side of the road and you've got traffic coming at you and you can't split the difference, then it's just, you are in the way, for sure. And some people don't take that lightly, though. They really feel like you're stamping on their rights by telling them they can't do that. And I'm not telling anybody they can't. I'm telling them they can't post it on the page, and I'm not telling you you can't go to a scene of an accident if that's what you choose to do, but just know that you could possibly be putting somebody in danger or, slowing the efforts. That's the sad, bad part about it. But, what do you do? It's the times that we live in now, I think, where the social media I love for some reasons, and for other reasons I don't like it at all, because it's that instant where you can just post what you want when you want, as quick as you want, with no thought. And sometimes that's tough, and I've been in that situation myself where I have been in the moment and said things and then been like, oh shit, but a little bit different in that when you're posting it, you have the time to really think about it first, I think. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I think about it. The Barre Partnership is now looking for sponsorship for the Heritage Festival.
Yes, yeah.
Already talking about the Heritage Festival.
I know.
Well, when I say that, it's really not an already thing. It's going to come quickly.
It does.
It doesn't take long, and it's here. July 23rd through the 26th. So actually pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's looking for, or there's sponsorship opportunities available, and you can contact Tracy over at the Barre Partnership. That's the Facebook page, or you can email director@thebarrepartnership.com, and Tracy will let you know all there is to know about sign up for that. we got the farmers market and the concerts in the park coming right up
Now, she's running those.
all together
All
on the
together?
same night,
Yeah.
which I think is an awesome idea.
Yeah.
It's all going to be over at the park now on the same night, and I think that's a super cool idea.
It's so much better moving it over to Courier Park because it's, City Hall Park is all right, but when you got vendors set up and people, there's really no good place to park to get to that. If you're gonna park, you gotta park out back of City Hall, walk across the
Right.
street.
Yep.
But yeah, the Courier Park's perfect for that.
I agree.
You'll have the music, you'll have the food trucks out on the side street.
Yeah, and can buy some stuff from the people that are there, fresh vegetables. I know there are some food items usually at the farmers market as well. So cool times. I know I'm ready for it. I'm sick of this cold, wet, yucky weather. So I'm looking forward to all of these great things that the partnership brings us. That's for sure. Yeah. It is. It's 4:30. We still haven't heard if you have an opponent yet. So I'm assuming that so far.
Well, Cheryl has to stay there till 5
It's
o'clock.
holding out, and at the moment, you still do not have an opponent. So we've got almost 30 minutes to go.
That's all right.
Just under 30 minutes to go before we learn whether or not you'll have an opponent.
Oh.
Yeah. But either way, whether you have one or not, you're going to work hard.
I'm
We
gonna
know
work
that.
hard. Oh,
You're
yeah.
going to work hard.
Yeah. This is my hometown. Born and raised here. So
Me too.
yeah.
Me too. Not far from here, actually. This was kind of like from this end of town down, I guess. Kind of like the middle of North Main
Yeah.
down is where we would have hung out when we were younger. If we were going to go to the store, my mom used to let us go from home to about as far as JJ Newberry. Once in a while, we girls could get away with going, Endicott Johnson's,
Oh yeah.
which was across the street, right? Wasn't that across the street?
I think it was down next to Newberry's.
It was down on the same side.
There was a
of the
shoe store there. I
street.
thought that was Endicott Johnson.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can
Mr.
remember
Henry. Mr.
Days,
Henry.
which was here in where the
Days
building
was
that
up
we're
this
in.
end, yeah. Yeah, I thought Endicott Johnson was down that side.
I don't remember. I just remember that when we were kids, we could babysit for like 50 cents for 50 cents on a Saturday. And a couple Saturdays in a row, we could actually go there and go down to their Barget basement
Yeah.
and buy something. And we just always thought that was the greatest thing ever. But I think that's kind of as far as we could go after school and stuff. Mom didn't want us on that far away from home on the other side of town.
Yeah.
And because we had to be home when the street lights came on. We always had to be home for dinner.
Yep.
And then if we went back out, we had to be home by the time the street lights came on. That was the rule.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And if you weren't, look out. Empty spot next to Newberry's is where Judy says it was.
Yeah.
And yep.
And it was Fran Henry was his name. Pete Henry's dad, I think, was the guy that ran it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And she says Fishman's was in Sidewalk Village.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember Fishman's, and I remember the green stamp store.
Montgomery Ward's was right where the courthouse is now.
Yep.
The cool thing was they had an escalator in
Yes, they had an escalator.
there. Me and my brothers used to go in and ride it until they threw us out.
I remember that, and I remember the green stamp store. What was out back across from Summer Street Auto on Summer Street? Was that kind of like a service merchandise?
Colonial Distributors.
I remember that because I remember they had one of those, the package track things in there
Yeah,
where they would
yeah.
get your package.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what that was called.
Yeah.
All I could think of was service merchandise, but I remember that when I was a kid,
Colonial
too.
Distributors.
because we go in there once in a while around Christmas time, of course.
Oh, Christmas time, Main Street was packed with people.
Yeah,
Remember?
it was awesome.
Yeah.
When we were younger. That was not that long ago either, Jeff.
Well, if you say so. We grew up, before we moved to Howard Street down the North End, we lived in an apartment building with my grandmother. She had an apartment on upstairs, and we had the downstairs. And it was behind the Bryant Daily building. Mm-hmm. And we had a little backyard there. And so the Country House restaurant was across that street from us. But that's why we'd go to Montgomery Ward's all the time. That's where we lived down in that end.
Uh-huh.
But we used to, my mom sometimes, if she was having spaghetti and she wasn't feeling like making sauce, she'd give us some money and send us across that little side street to the Country House. Mm-hmm. And they sold spaghetti sauce out of the kitchen there.
And so you could get it there, bring it home, and
Yep.
she just had to whip up the pasta, and
Yep.
that was it.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Those were the good old days.
They really were. Yeah, we kind of talked about that the other day, the little mom and pop stores all the way,
Yeah.
down Main Street, and the things that you could get on your way home, and it was amazing.
It was like every neighborhood had like a little neighborhood store.
Yeah.
Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
Like
Get
down
your
in the
penny
North End.
candies, and
Yeah.
the store owners knew your names,
Yep.
and you knew theirs, and it was just kind of fun to go in, and yeah.
Yeah. So we had Caldereras right. We were up on the end of Howard Street, and it's just a short walk down to Center Street.
That's where we would go from Berlin Street. We would go down there.
Down to Caldereras.
Yeah, we'd go to Denty's on the way home, but after school or on the weekends we would go down to Caldereras, and then is it 4th Street? We would walk down there to get ice cream. I can't remember the store on the corner.
So second.
Was it Deli?
Second or third. Oh God!
That part of the building fell off in the
Yeah,
flood in
yeah, yeah,
2023, where the store was.
Foy Delis.
Yes.
You had Foy Delis. You had Bud's Market.
Yep. We used to go down there a lot as well. Judy says behind Emsley's is where you lived on West Street.
West 2nd Street.
So
Yeah.
she knows where you live.
Yeah, West 2nd Street.
Yeah. Did she grow up down that area too?
They were on what? They were on Foss Street off Berlin.
Off Berlin.
Yeah, because we moved from there, and I'm trying to think what year it was because, so my brother Greg, my two younger brothers went to kindergarten at Ward 5, and my older brother and I went to Matheson because we were living over there.
Yep.
So when you go to kindergarten, you're what, 6 years old? Mm-hmm. So that would have been, let's see, 56, 62, 63 is when we moved over to Howard Street. Yeah.
Mariah says, do you remember Tip of the Cone? Absolutely.
Oh,
I remember Tip of the Cone.
Right up here.
Yeah.
South Main Street.
Yeah. When we used to go there as well. When I was younger, my favorite was to get it was like a pink ice cream, had like peppermint chips in it or candy chips in it that were peppermint.
Yeah.
And have that on a sugar cone. When I was younger, that was my favorite. Now it's butter pecan, but we always went to Tip of Cone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it was the only place really right in the city that
that we
had
could
that.
go.
I don't know where else we would go.
No, not after Dell's closed. Because like I said, when I was really young, we used to just walk down the street. We could walk down there and get ice cream. But after that, always the Tip of the Cone.
Let's see, she put that, because she put the ice cream thing like right in her house.
Yeah.
Because they had the store for years and
Right,
years.
that was sat on the corner. It
Yeah.
was like a long,
And it got knocked off
Rounded.
during the flood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had to walk up onto the porch to the window, and
That's
to
right,
get the
yeah.
ice cream, you had to walk
Yep.
up there. And she did have really good ice cream.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
I remember going there a lot, and that was always used as a tool for my mother.
Well, there was also Dairy Queen,
That was here too.
where the Salvation Army building is down in front of the fire
See,
station.
I don't remember that.
No?
No.
Oh yeah, that came in, because that was a cool thing, was we used to walk down to the North Berry pool. 'Cause,
Yeah, I
you know,
remember walking down to the pool.
and Dairy Queen was right in front of it.
Yeah, I don't know why. But I don't remember that at all. Who knows? I remember.
I bet Judy knows.
I think that Judy knows. Well, I better
Judy
not
knows a
say-
lot.
I better just say a lot. I better not say everything.
No.
I better not put that kind
That
of
wouldn't be
pressure on
polite.
Judy. I better not say that she
No.
knows everything. We don't want to put that kind of pressure on her.
No,
That's
'cause
terrible.
She lived down there. She was born down when they lived on Foss Street.
Uh-huh.
And let's see, they moved when they put in the belt line. All the houses on that side that she lived on were torn down, which would have been 73, 74, somewhere
Mm-hmm.
around there. So,
Craziness.
yeah.
I'm sending over a message now to see if we've gotten any new news. Haven't heard yet, but where was the North Berry pool? So the North Berry pool was where the police station is, basically.
It would be, so if you're looking at the public safety building, the fire side is on the right. The pool would be right smack dab in front of that, just down a little ways. So
Yeah.
figure about the center of those doors and down a little ways.
Mm-hmm.
It was only 5 feet deep at its deepest end.
Yeah. But that's where we were allowed to go, like,
Yeah.
when we were younger.
There was a little ball field down the far corner. Kids used to slide on the hill from North Berry School.
That's where we always went sliding, if we weren't sliding down the sidewalks on Berlin Street, because we did do that too.
That's pretty steep.
It was, and you could go a really long ways because there was there was driveways, so of course it still was dangerous, but we didn't we didn't cross streets. You could go from the top all the way to John Street.
Yeah, yeah.
And you could really get whipping. It was, and yes, it was dangerous, and we shouldn't have probably done it, but we did, and we had a blast.
Yeah.
We used to, and then in the summer, we were even more dangerous, and maybe I shouldn't tell these things, but we used to use my brother's wagon and do the same damn thing. But you could steer the wagon with the handle. You could steer it at least. But we would go down Berlin Street until we got caught. When my mom caught us doing that, she was not happy at all about doing that. But I think it was because my brother got hurt. He was sitting a little too far up in the wagon, and the handle came back and smucked him in the face, and so it sliced his eye open.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was not. We were riding doubles, I think, that day. But, Judy says splash parties at North Berry through the rec department.
Yep, they used to do that. That was back in the days when you had all the little neighborhood playgrounds, and the recreation department, the lady's name was Laura Hanson. And they'd hire high school kids or college kids as I don't know if they got paid or if they were interns, and they would be in charge of like 2 or 3 of them that would be in charge of a playground, and they always had something for kids to do when you got there. Like they'd have little craft things you could do, or you'd play organized games, and then at the end of the summer we had usually a bicycle parade down Main Street.
Now that sounds fun.
Yeah, that was the early 60s, mid 60s. Yeah.
I'm trying. I wish that we could. I really wish that we could give kids today those same experiences that we had. I wish that we could go back just a little bit and give them those experiences, because we really did have a really good childhood, I think. Yeah. We were just, it was very free.
It was. Your parents, you went out in your neighborhood, and you stayed out until 10 or 9 when the curfew whistle blew, and it was, when you hear that whistle blow, your butt's got to be back in this house. You know?
Right, exactly. When I don't remember the whistle, so there's where we're a little off in age. Just a little bit, though, not a lot. Just a little bit.
You keep saying that.
I don't remember the whistle, but I do know that my mom, like I said, we had to be home when the streetlights came on.
Yep.
And there were some times that once the streetlights came on, we could be in our neighborhood. We just had to, if my mom yelled, we needed to be able to hear her. And so, we did. We had a group of like 4 or 5 houses that we went to. You would just stay on their back lawns and play hide and go seek or dodgeball or some other Red Rover or something until she hollered to you and you had to go in. But our kids of this time, they really miss out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we used to do like the old Ward 5 school. We'd play in the summer. We were up there playing street hockey, and then we'd go down and play football down at the North Berry field where the pool was. I mean,
Yep.
we were all over the neighborhood.
Yeah, all over the place.
And at night, they got down there in the meadow. That's what we called it, the meadow, between George Street up to Blackwell Street, so all of Center Street, that area.
Yeah.
And there must have been, I'm not kidding, there must have been, 25, 30 kids in that neighborhood. There were some families that had 10 kids, 11 kids, 12 kids.
Those must have been Bootons.
And we were, yeah, they were all Bootons. I think we were like the smallest family, and it was four boys. But gosh, my brother Greg always would joke about it. He'd say, down in our neighborhood, we'd play hide and seek, and it took 2 weeks to find everybody. Yeah.
We're getting I don't know. This happens every once in a while. So somebody is asking us a question via text for some reason. And, oh, yes. So I did forget to talk about this. So, and maybe I didn't forget. Maybe I just wasn't really sure about, but she's telling me to go ahead and say, so we are the official local promoters for the Vermont Ravens. We kind of...
The football team?
Yeah, we worked, her and I, we got it all worked out this morning, and so we are going to be the official promoters, and she's just messaging in saying, go ahead and let it fly. So go ahead and let it fly, that we're going to be doing that. So
Great.
We'll be having a lot of them in here, different people in here. We'll be talking about the games, the schedule, different events that they are doing throughout the year. So, some games they may have something special connected to a game that they're doing. So
Good.
We'll be talking about that, promoting that, and they'll be promoting us too. So you'll be able to look for when you're looking at 802 Scoop, you'll see Vermont Ravens stuff and vice versa. They're
Nice.
going to be doing that stuff for us too. So I'm super excited about that. And
Great.
they have their team is made up from guys from right here in Vermont, but they do have a couple from New York. And she said the furthest away this year is New Jersey. So last year I was lucky enough to meet a couple of players, and I had some dorm fridges that I was trying to get rid of, and I happened to be at another lawn sale. A friend of mine was having a lawn sale, and some people came, and that's what they were looking for.
Yeah.
I hit it just right, and I was like, I have them, and I took them right home with me and got rid of those. I gave them to them, and they've been passing them around between the host families because
So
that's what they
that
do.
works like the Vermont Mountaineers then? They find host families for these
Yeah.
guys? Yeah.
Yeah, not always, but sometimes that's
Yeah.
what happens with them. They find host families if they're going to be traveling, and
Nice.
but yeah, so we get to do that. I'm super excited.
All
I think
right.
it'll be a nice fit. It'll be a fun fit. I love football. I know the girls, 4 quarters. I think that it'll be a good fit for them too. They'll get to weigh in and talk about it a little bit, Yeah, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited. And who knows, maybe some night we'll just take off to a game
To do that?
and, we'll live stream from there. Why not? So, all right, we have 9 minutes to go. I'm going to message over one time and see where we're at, see if we know anything. And if we don't, I guess we can just wrap it up because I'm guessing in the last 8 minutes.
Nobody's going to come running in with their, here they are.
I mean, I guess it's possible. But here goes. I'm typing it in now, and the clock is ticking. But as we wrap up, we'll just say that we're not going to do a Barry Beat tonight. Michael is actually busy, which is, they're going to start having the school board meetings one Monday a month.
Oh.
So, which usually we're hoping won't conflict with what we're doing here anyway, because how the council meetings go now. That you were doing them every other week, and so that goes back to that. But Michael's also been doing the Capitol Beat anyway on the weekends to talk about all the legislative stuff. So we're trying to make it so that we're not doing too much political stuff. So that he'll just do, one or the other during the week. So we probably, let me see, Michael and I will be back together on Thursday for the wrap, but you and I will be here this week at 4. Plenty more to talk about after we get by today and kind of know what's going on. Right now, we kind of don't know what's going on. So there's plenty more to talk about. And the girls will be here Wednesday night. Tomorrow morning at 7, we can't forget, right side up, 7 o'clock in the morning. That's a great show. The girls will be here Wednesday night at 5:30. Michael and I will be here Thursday night at 7. And then Vermont Daily Chronicle on Friday at 4. Yeah.
And we'll be here tomorrow night before the council meeting.
Before the council meeting.
And
Wednesday. Tomorrow's normal time, right? 6 o'clock. So we won't be fighting the clock. And we can certainly tell people what's going to be on the agenda and on the Tuesday show, because on the days that we don't have Barry Beat, because pretty much that's all that Michael and I do is let everybody know what's going to be on there in case they want to tune in and participate, which I would love to see more and more people participating. I think that being on Zoom, it definitely makes it easier, and I've seen more and more people tuning in depending on what the subject is. But especially right now when there's candidates and things coming up, to really start paying attention to where the money's going to go, what's happening with this and what's happening with that, and charter changes and different things like that.
And if people want to get involved with what's going on in the city, but they don't want to run for an elected office, there's committees. There's different committees, and I think there's at least a couple that are still looking for members.
Yeah, there are. There definitely are.
So if they go on the city website and go to committees, they can see what's there and if there's any openings. And it's a good way to start to get involved.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did.
I did too. I was on the old Planning and Zoning Commission. I did that for 2 years, and then I did 4 years on the city council.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing now is
back
the
when you were just a
Planning
little
Commission.
kid.
Yeah, back when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm doing now is the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
And, but I don't ever plan to do anything as far as, well, first of all, I'd have to move to the city in order to run for a position anyways. And I did try to find a house in the city because, I mean, it probably would have crossed my mind to do that at this point. I probably would have said, sure, I'll run for something.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Wouldn't that have thrown them all for a loop? Poor people. Oh my goodness, I can just hear it all now. It totally freaks some people out right there. Yeah, I just the thought of it.
We got 4 minutes left.
We have 4 minutes left. And
Still nothing?
Still nothing.
Oh, boy.
And so as of right now, I don't believe that you have an opponent, but who knows?
Eh,
Who knows?
somebody could launch a write-in, too.
Yep, somebody could launch a write-in. How long did, you have to have, I forget how many signatures you have to have for the write-in.
I think it's the same as if you're just getting the petition in.
Yeah.
30.
Is it 30?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember how that is. I know that that's how Cheryl got
That's
her
right,
position.
yeah.
She was a write-in position last election.
Yep.
So she's it's almost been a year that she's been with us. She's a great lady, and we're
Yeah.
lucky to have her. And that was definitely a successful write-in campaign for sure. So
Well, it made sense. She worked in the clerk's office,
yeah.
before she moved to the other position up at Alumni Hall, and
Mm-hmm.
I think she's doing a good job.
We're going to be talking about the clerk's position here a little bit in the
Yes.
future. We're going to Carol Dawes is going to come in and join in on the conversation, and we're going to be talking about that position and what it's going to look like, and should it stay the same? Should it change?
That'll be
All that kind of stuff.
That will be a council agenda item.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's tonight, tomorrow night.
Well, it's
Whether or
it's
not
in
it's
there
gonna
as
be
a
on the
charter
ballot,
for a
yeah.
charter change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we'll definitely be discussing that and making sure that the voters have as much information about that as possible when the time comes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I guess we can duck out. We'll tell everybody have a great night,
Yep.
and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So tune in to Table Talk right here on 802 Scoop. Have a great night, everybody.